Let's get right into it. Number 12. Heavy rocks on you. Buried under stones. Picture that. A body placed gently into the ground, only to have rocks piled onto it later. Not random chaos. Deliberate weight. Fear drove those choices. The dead might rise, some believed, walk around causing trouble. So down went the stones, one by one, sealing quiet beneath layers of granite and doubt. Sleep well, if you can, when watched over by rock piles meant to keep you still. Found in old burial sites, stone stacks pressed hard on chests, throats, or legs. Simple idea really, once someone is buried, they should remain still. Heavy rocks made it tough to rise, shift position, or worse yet, wander off toward homes at night, cold-eyed and silent. Funny how memory works, your mind skips the odd ways bodies break down. Swelling happens. Arms move oddly. Wood groans under pressure. Air leaks out slow. Back then, without any science to explain it, people saw that motion and thought, he's coming back. That fear? It made them pile on stones. Heavy ones. Fear spreads fast when sickness grips a town. Bodies piling up with no end in sight. A person drops dead at dawn. Limbs oddly rigid or cheeks flushed like they're still breathing. Well then, stones come next. Heavy ones, right on top of the coffin. Most times, big rocks served much like wedging a chair beneath a door handle. Awkward? Sure. Based on proof? Hardly. Yet somehow it helped calm nerves while staring at the ceiling, heart thumping. What if last night's burial wasn't really staying buried? Number 11. Head removal services. Ever notice horror films love chopping off heads? Long before cinemas existed, old societies already knew this trick. When a body can't think, talk, or look around, haunting people becomes impossible. Silence guaranteed. Bones dug up in eastern parts of Europe often missed their skulls. Some had them tucked under the chin. Others were found with heads jammed between knees. Facing downward happened more than once. Separation from the body wasn't rare either. Distance played a role. Some skulls ended up miles from where they started. It began like this. The brain ran everything. Should magic ever restart a person, that spark would hit up top first. Without a skull, ghosts had nothing left to say. Silence ruled after dark. Even the dead stopped leaving feedback. Oddly enough, old tales of vampires mixed right in here. Really just rebranded zombies when you think about it. Folks thought corpses might gnaw through burial cloths, somehow draining life from others without moving a muscle. Chop off the head, though, and that chewing stops cold. Suddenly, there are no more strange fevers jumping from house to house. No whispers of doom hanging over the fields. Maybe it feels harsh to you. For them, just another way to stop problems before they start. Not about cruelty, more like caution. Imagine pulling out the batteries when something wakes you every night. Only this time, the thing buzzing in the dark is family. Burial in ancient times did not serve to praise those who passed. Instead, it opened a dialogue with them. Done carefully, through acts of raw force. Number 10. Face-down burial mode. Beneath the surface, your face pressed into soil. No metaphor here, just purposeful design. Forever looking down at nothing but earth. Buried face down, some bodies stayed that way on purpose. Fear drove it, fear the dead could return. Flip them over, the thinking went, and climbing out becomes harder. Wake beneath dirt. Start digging blindly. Now you're headed further into earth instead of fighting your way up. Like a disoriented animal moving opposite to survival. A flip happened across medieval Europe when someone vanished too fast, fell in blood, or left questions behind. Those tagged as troublemakers, thieves, strangers, souls that just didn't fit, got tossed into suspicion without warning. Beneath it all, feelings played a part. Laying a person face down marked them as outcast. This act removed respect, left them disconnected from others, even after life ended. Not only gone, pushed downward, denied peace. Burial position mattered more than most realized. As tissues break down, limbs sometimes rearrange themselves without warning. What was placed flat on its back could seem contorted weeks afterward. Observers unfamiliar with natural shifts often misread the signs. Placing bodies face down limited misunderstandings. Less chance of startled gasps at what seemed like proof of rising dead. Zombies didn't catch on back then just because folks liked scary tales. It was more like this. When bodies acted strangely after dying, people felt shaky, unsure. So myths about the undead crept in not as entertainment, but as a way to make sense of what they couldn't stop or explain. Number 9. Mouth-stuffing solutions. Funny how a dribble could spark such fear. Back then, they'd see liquid near dead lips and jump straight to teeth and hunger. Bodies leaking fluid became monsters in their minds. One little wetness, one big nightmare. Thought it meant biting. Believed it wanted flesh. When a body breaks down, liquid might seep through the lips. Swelling often takes hold of the tongue. Pressure from inside may push material outward, hardly a calm sight. Back then, people saw such signs and thought the deceased were gnawing at air, sucking breath, or hunting neighbors after dark. They filled dead mouths full of stuffed rocks, broken bricks, old coins. At times, jagged bits of clay pots too. Whatever worked to stop a body from moving its jaw. The idea was simple. Shut it tight before anything came out. A brick forced into a jaw so hard it split bone is what diggers once pulled from old graves. People thought silence stopped sickness, hexes, or worse, seeping out through teeth. This wasn't about honor. It was about sealing shut anything that might crawl free. This wasn't just fear without reason. When sickness spread, folks dug up graves trying to find causes. A body seeming too untouched by decay, or showing red stains near the lips, got labeled the start of something unnatural. Plugging the mouth acted like stopping a ghost before it could speak. Seen today, it feels like sorrow. Back then, they called it control. Much like sealing a restless machine with tape, stopping it from tipping flames again. Number 8. Stakes, poles, and internal pinning. Folks have seen it 1,000 times. The wooden spike right into the chest. Surprise, this wasn't theater magic but clever problem solving. Through the chest of buried bodies, people once hammered long metal rods or thick wooden posts, not aimed at causing death a second time, meant to pin down what lay beneath. Movement would be impossible if the corpse shifted. Any attempt to rise would fail, held fast by force and timber, twisting, rolling, trapped either way, impaled as if on a spit meant for something unholy. Folks leaned on iron since they thought it kept bad spirits away. Heavy, sharp, full of meaning, that metal carried weight beyond its mass. Think of it like digital protection built for battle, only with more edges and less code. When someone passed away without warning, they might get staked. If folks didn't know you well, that could mean stakes too. Acting strange one time, maybe just an odd look, was enough for some. People leaned toward suspicion when things felt off about how a person left the world. Bloated remains shift arms and legs. Because of that, coffins sometimes split open. Ground above heaves and settles. When a body is pinned down, motion slows nearly to nothing, so nobody stands there wondering why the dirt looks different today. Burial styles long ago skipped pretty looks. They aimed at calm nerves instead. Knowing bodies stayed put helped rest come easier, actually. Rest did not come fast when thoughts ran wild with hexes, spirits, or some fellow called Vlad lurking nearby. Number 7. Weighted coffins and nailed shut lids. Faced with rocks alone being too weak, old societies built stronger ways to keep things locked away. Fear shaped the design of certain burial containers. Heavy rocks filled some, while others wore tight metal wraps held by spikes. Ease of escape? That was never part of the plan. This vessel did more than hold remains, it resisted movement from within. Not peace, but prevention guided its form. Nails mattered more than most realized. Fastening a coffin shut meant closure, not only in wood but in spirit. The act whispered to existence itself. Loose ends tied here. Foxes weren't the first guess when coffins turned up cracked. Folks figured he'd crawled out instead. It happened often, bodies moved by creatures digging down below. That's why safety mattered so much back then. They made it stronger every time. Thick covers held down tight. More nails hammered deep. Occasionally, links of iron wrapped round. All that weight wasn't for keeping spirits in, rather, for holding back what shouldn't get out. Back then, folks knew what struggle meant. With little knowledge at hand, life felt unpredictable, danger everywhere, answers nowhere. Since the world often seemed cursed or haunted, their graves were built more like shields than goodbyes. If confusion hits about how bodies work, best to figure your dead self could act unpredictably. Number 6. Severed limbs strategy. If staying together isn't guaranteed, shutting down makes sense. That idea didn't just sit in theory, older cultures acted on it straight away. Buried bodies turned up missing hands or feet, left scattered nearby, twisted sideways or tossed far off. Simple logic drove it. Without legs, you cannot run. You cannot drag yourself forward. Reaching out from shadows to clutch someone's foot? Not happening. This way of doing things appeared during times when terror gripped people, outbreaks, battles, societies falling apart, moments when dying seemed sudden and close. When a person passed in a manner seen as improper, caution ruled. Burial wasn't enough. Pieces were scattered. What seems like cruelty today meant safety back then. Movement happens after death. As tissues break down, positions change. Arms might spread. Legs may bend in new ways. If a body appeared different than when laid to rest, people feared it had fought its way out. Fragments lay apart now, so guesses vanished. Motion only happened when hands forced it. Nights stayed quiet, free of sudden fear. Graves remained undisturbed after dark. Darkness wraps everything. Yet inside it lives something raw, alive, real. Fear changes how you see things. You break big troubles into small pieces, ones you might handle. Long ago, folk faced endings they could not prevent. Sickness came no matter what. Death too. One thing though, they could freeze a body by cutting its movement. Felt good. Really, like something clicked into place. Number 5. Burial outside the community. Distance worked well against zombies. Often, just a great deal of it made all the difference. Burial spots for those feared after death. Thieves. Unknown faces, society's cast-offs. Usually lay distant from homes, near path intersections, or within wild patches such as bogs and thick woods. Not chance placements. These places sat between worlds on purpose. Some thought spirits got lost at borders. Bury them beyond the village, and they'd never return home. Like switching off a ghost's map mid-journey. At crossroads, things felt heavier. Confusion followed spirits who arrived there. Stuck between paths, one might stand forever, wondering, should I go left or right? A quiet frustration settled in. Now think about how quiet moments feel safer when you believe nothing watches back. A creak on the stairs? Just the house settling, never a hand reaching. Minds relax when they can say, that belongs somewhere else. Far-off things stay far off, even if only in thought. This seems superstitious now. Back then, they saw it as setting boundaries beyond death. Number 4. Binding with ropes and chains. Rope works just fine without movie magic. What matters is how you use it, not flashy tricks. Bound hands, tied legs, many bodies came wrapped tight, held down like something might escape. Shrouds pulled close left little room to shift. Comfort played no part here. Keeping things still mattered more than anything. Banding slowed motion when flesh slipped on bone. Then again, threads also held ghost stuff down. Not only did knots grip limbs, they tied up belonging to no wandering free in life's chain. Bold links brought a kind of quiet promise. Iron spoke louder than words. Heaviness carried purpose. Rules from those still breathing pinned the departed on land, in thought. Odd how such details made sense of what happened after burial. When a grave showed signs of being tampered with yet straps still held tight, calm stayed among the living. But if those ties snapped, fear spread fast. Response followed without delay. Sometimes just heaps more stone piled on top. Back then, folks rarely thought zombies walked around. Trouble came only if someone ignored the old ways. Tying up bodies made sure nobody forgot what mattered. Bodies that won't rest change how you see things. Tied up tight, the trouble might stop moving. Silence is what you wait for. Number 3. Coins, charms, and anti-undead accessories. Not every barrier needed strength. Some worked just by being seen. Buried long ago, People sometimes had coins placed over their eyes, small stones sewn into shirts, items hidden near the heart. These things carried a reason given by priests. Fare for crossing rivers beyond life, safety during travel, pledges handed to unseen guides. In truth, though, they served another purpose just as much. They helped make sure the departed stayed calm, silent where they lay. A soul stuck handing coins to boatmen, chasing divine approval, or buried in celestial red tape rarely found energy left to haunt the villagers. Like assigning chores to a restless spirit keeps it occupied. Ancient people placed trust in items thought to guide the spirit where it belonged. Some things sat nearby to block dark energies trying to stir flesh back to motion. The sharp scent of garlic did more than flavor food. It carried meaning, stood for cleanliness, disrupted what lurked unseen. A coin in place helped quiet uneasy thoughts. Peaceful rest made grief feel more bearable. When things felt uncertain, fear grew stronger. Ceremony offered what silence could not. Looking at it one way, the charms failed completely. Yet seen differently, their real role was clearer, calming those still here by showing the departed were guided and not alone. Fear often holds things back. Calm words can ease it without fixing everything. Number 2. Watching the dead very closely. Watching the dead came first. In certain places, people stayed awake beside corpses for days on end before putting them underground. It wasn't about care. It had more to do with doubt. Frozen fingers sometimes moved. Sounds crept out of still chests. Warmth flickered under cold skin. Shades shifted where none should. Signs teased life when silence ruled. The gone could return, just not fully gone before. Think how hard it was to tell, back then, who would breathe again. Comas fooled even family eyes. Dirt covered breathing bodies more than once. Fear grew thick around graves because of it. If a person came back once buried, that proved the worst fears true. Watching began right away. Waiting followed close behind. Testing wasn't far off. Burial could wait, sometimes days, particularly where it stayed frozen. Nothing went wrong? Fine. But if trouble came, then rites followed fast. Barriers got stronger. Heads might come off. Burial styles changed because of constant watchfulness. A window was added into each coffin. To allow fast access, markers showed where graves lay. They believed death might play tricks. Fair point. Looking back at what they've done, it's no surprise people hesitate. Number 1. Burial as damage control. This is what most overlook today. Burial practices from long ago did not come from fear of walking corpses. Uncertainty shaped them. The unknown around dying felt overwhelming. Fear played a role, yes, but it was confusion more than myth that guided these rituals. Bodies shifted before their eyes. The stench of rot hung in the air. Hisses of gas broke the silence. Sickness crept through towns after burial rites. Without answers, minds reached for intent. A force seemed at work. Not natural, not right. Built like traps, those tombs held more than bodies. Each marker, post, twist of cord, ceremony, meant to draw a line through wildness. A way of marking where things stop. Fear had nothing to do with zombies. Power did. Holding back panic came first. Then accepting how fast life could vanish. A planet that ended lives for no clear reason demanded order where there was none. Burial practices of old times showed clever thinking. Facing unknowns, people found ways to respond. When life starts seeming like a scary film, you redesign the scene just to hold things together. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.